Chapter 11. Now the people complained in the hearing of the Lord, and when he heard it his wrath flared up, so that the fire of the Lord burned among them, and consumed the outskirts of the camp. But when the people cried out to Moses, he prayed to the Lord, and the fire died out. Hence that place was called Taberah, because there the fire of the Lord burned among them. The foreign elements among them were so greedy for meat that even the Israelites lamented again. Would that we had meat for food. We remember the fish we used to eat without cost in Egypt, and the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. But now we are famished. We see nothing before us but this manna. Manna was like coriander seed, and had the appearance of bdellium. When they had gone about and gathered it up, the people would grind it between millstones, or pound it in a mortar, then cook it in a pot and make it into loaves, which tasted like cakes made with oil. At night when the dew fell upon the camp, the manna also fell. When Moses heard the people, family after family, crying at the entrance of their tents, so that the Lord became very angry, he was grieved. "Why do you treat your servant so badly?" Moses asked the Lord. "Why are you so displeased with me that you burden me with all this people? Was it I who conceived all this people, or was it I who gave them birth, that you tell me to carry them at my bosom, like a foster father carrying an infant, to the land you have promised under oath to their fathers? Where can I get meat to give to all this people? For they are crying to me, 'Give us meat for our food.' I cannot carry all this people by myself, for they are too heavy for me. If this is the way you will deal with me, then please do me the favor of killing me at once, so that I need no longer face this distress." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Assemble for me 70 of the elders of Israel, men you know for true elders and authorities among the people, and bring them to the meeting tent. When they are in place beside you, I will come down and speak with you there. I will also take some of the Spirit that is on you, and will bestow it on them, that they may share the burden of the people with you. You will then not have to bear it by yourself. People, however, you shall say, sanctify yourselves for tomorrow, when you shall have meat to eat. For in the hearing of the Lord you have cried, would that we had meat for food. Oh, how well off we were in Egypt. Therefore the Lord will give you meat for food, and you will eat it not for 1 day, or 2 days, or 5, or 10, or 20 days, but for a whole month, until it comes out of your very nostrils and becomes loathsome to you. For you have spurned the Lord who is in your midst, and in his presence you have wailed, why did we ever leave Egypt? But Moses said, the people around me include 600,000 soldiers, yet you say, I will give them meat to eat for a whole month. Can enough sheep and cattle be slaughtered for them? If all the fish of the sea were caught for them, would they have enough? The Lord answered Moses, Is this beyond the Lord's reach? You shall see now whether or not what I have promised you takes place. So Moses went out and told the people what the Lord had said. Gathering 70 elders of the people, he had them stand around the tent. The Lord then came down in the cloud and spoke to him. Taking some of the Spirit that was on Moses, he bestowed it on the 70 elders, and as the Spirit came to rest on them, they prophesied. Now 2 men, one named Eldad and the other Medad, were not in the gathering but had been left in the camp. They too had been on the list but had not gone out to the tent. Yet the Spirit came to rest on them also, and they prophesied in the camp. So when a young man quickly told Moses, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp, Joshua, son of Nun, who from his youth had been Moses' aide, said, Moses, my lord, stop them. But Moses answered him, Are you jealous for my sake? Would that all the people of the Lord were prophets. Would that the Lord might bestow his Spirit on them all. Then Moses retired to the camp, along with the elders of Israel. There arose a wind sent by the Lord that drove in quail from the sea, and brought them down over the campsite at a height of 2 cubits from the ground, for a distance of a day's journey all around the camp. All that day, all night, and all the next day the people gathered in the quail, even the one who had got the least gathered 10 homers of them. Then they spread them out all around the camp. But while the meat was still between their teeth, before it could be consumed, the Lord's wrath flared up against the people, and he struck them with a very great plague, so that place was named Kibroth-Hattaavah, because it was there that the greedy people were buried. From Kibroth Hattaavah the people set out for Hazeroth. Chapter 12. While they were in Hazeroth, Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses on the pretext of the marriage he had contracted with a Cushite woman. They complained, "Is it through Moses alone that the Lord speaks? Does he not speak through us also?" And the Lord heard this. Now Moses himself was by far the meekest man on the face of the earth. So at once the Lord said to Moses and Aaron and Miriam, "Come out, you three, to the meeting tent." And the three of them went. Then the Lord came down in the column of cloud, and standing at the entrance of the tent, called Aaron and Miriam. When both came forward, he said, "Now listen to the words of the Lord. Should there be a prophet among you, in visions will I reveal myself to him, in dreams will I speak to him. Not so through my servant Moses. Throughout my house he bears my trust. Face to face I speak to him, plainly and not in riddles. The presence of the Lord he beholds. Why then did you not fear to speak against my servant Moses?" So angry was the Lord against them that when he departed, and the cloud withdrew from the tent, there was Miriam, a snow-white leper. When Aaron turned and saw her a leper, "Ah, my Lord," he said to Moses, "please do not charge us with the sin we have foolishly committed. Let her not thus be like the stillborn babe that comes forth from its mother's womb with its flesh half consumed." Then Moses cried to the Lord, "Please, not this. Pray, heal her." But the Lord answered Moses, "Suppose her father had spit in her face, would she not hide in shame for 7 days? Let her be confined outside the camp for 7 days. Only then may she be brought back." So Miriam was confined outside the camp for 7 days, and the people did not start out again until she was brought back. After that, the people set out for Hazeroth and encamped in the desert of Paran. Chapter 13. The Lord said to Moses, "Send men to reconnoiter the land of Canaan, which I am giving the Israelites. You shall send 1 man from each ancestral tribe, all of them princes." Moses dispatched them from the desert of Paran as the Lord had ordered. All of them were leaders among the Israelites. By name they were Shammua, son of Zakur of the tribe of Reuben, Shaphat, son of Hori of the tribe of Simeon, Caleb, son of Jephunneh of the tribe of Judah, Igal, son of Joseph of the tribe of Issachar, Gadiel, son of Sodi of the tribe of Zebulun, Gadi, son of Susi of the tribe of Manasseh for the Josephites, with Hosea, son of Nun of the tribe of Ephraim, Palti, son of Raphu of the tribe of Benjamin, Amiel, son of Jamali of the tribe of Dan, Sethur, son of Michael of the tribe of Asher, Nabi, son of Voshvi of the tribe of Naphtali, Jeuel, son of Maki of the tribe of Gad. These are the names of the men whom Moses sent out to reconnoiter the land. But Hoshea, son of Nun, Moses called Joshua. In sending them to reconnoiter the land of Canaan, Moses said to them, "Go up here in the Negeb, up into the highlands, and see what kind of land it is. Are the people living there strong or weak, few or many? Is the country in which they live good or bad? Are the towns in which they dwell open or fortified? Is the soil fertile or barren, wooded or clear? And do your best to get some of the fruit of the land." It was then the season for early grapes. So they went up and reconnoitered the land from the desert of Zin, as far as where Rehob adjoins Labo of Hamath. Going up by the way of the Negeb, they reached Hebron. Ahiman, Shishai, and Talmai, descendants of the Anakim, were living. Hebron had been built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. They also reached the Wadi Eshkol, where they cut down a branch with a single cluster of grapes on it, which 2 of them carried on a pole, as well as some pomegranates and figs. It was because of the cluster the Israelites cut there that they called the place the Wadi Eshkol. After reconnoitering the land for 40 days, they returned, met Moses and Aaron and the whole community of the Israelites in the desert of Paran at Kadesh, made a report to them all, and showed them the fruit of the country. They told Moses, "We went into the land to which you sent us. It does indeed flow with milk and honey, and here is its fruit. However, the people who are living in the land are fierce, and the towns are fortified and very strong. Besides, we saw descendants of the Anakim there. Amalekites live in the region of the Negeb, Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites dwell in the highlands, and Canaanites along the seacoast and the banks of the Jordan. Caleb, however, to quiet the people toward Moses, said, "We ought to go up and seize the land, for we can certainly do so." But the men who had gone up with him said, "We cannot attack these people, they are too strong for us." So they spread discouraging reports among the Israelites about the land they had scouted, saying, "The land that we explored is a country that consumes its inhabitants, and all the people we saw there are huge men, veritable giants. The Anakim were a race of giants. We felt like mere grasshoppers, and so we must have seemed to them." Chapter 14. At this, the whole community broke out with loud cries, and even in the night the people wailed. All the Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron, the whole community, saying to them, "Would that we had died in the land of Egypt, or that here in the desert we were dead. Why is the Lord bringing us into this land only to have us fall by the sword? Our wives and little ones will be taken as booty. Would it not be better for us to return to Egypt?" So they said to one another, "Let us appoint a leader and go back to Egypt." But Moses and Aaron fell prostrate before the whole assembled community of the Israelites, while Joshua son of Nun and Caleb son of Jephunneh, who had been in the party that scouted the land, tore their garments, and said to the whole community of the Israelites, "The country which we went through and explored is a fine rich land. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will bring us in and give us that land, a land flowing with milk and honey. But do not rebel against the Lord. You need not be afraid of the people of that land. They are but food for us. Their defense has left them, but the Lord is with us. Therefore do not be afraid of them." In answer, the whole community threatened to stone them. But then the glory of the Lord appeared at the meeting tent to all the Israelites, and the Lord said to Moses,
"How long will this people spurn me? How long will they refuse to believe in me, despite all the signs I have performed among them? I will strike them with pestilence and wipe them out. Then I will make of you a nation greater and mightier than they."
But Moses said to the Lord, "Are the Egyptians to hear of this? For by your power you brought out this people from among them. And are they to tell of it to the inhabitants of this land? It has been heard that you, O Lord, are in the midst of this people, you, Lord, who plainly reveal yourself. Your cloud stands over them, and you go before them by day in a column of cloud, and by night in a column of fire. If now you slay this whole people, the nations who have heard such reports of you will say, 'The Lord was not able to bring this people into the land he swore to give them. That is why he slaughtered them in the desert.' Now then, let the power of the Lord be displayed in its greatness, even as you have said. The Lord is slow to anger, and rich in kindness, forgiving wickedness and crime, yet not declaring the guiltless guilty, but punishing children to the third and fourth generation for their fathers' wickedness. Pardon then the wickedness of this people, in keeping with your great kindness, even as you have forgiven them from Egypt until now." The Lord answered,
"I pardon them as you have asked, yet by my life and the Lord's glory that fills the whole earth, of all the men who have seen my glory in the signs I worked in Egypt and in the desert, and who nevertheless have put me to the test 10 times already, and have failed to heed my voice, not one shall see the land which I promised on oath to their fathers. None of these who have spurned me shall see it, but because my servant Caleb has a different spirit and follows me unreservedly, I will bring him into the land where he has just been, and his descendants shall possess it. But now the Amalekites and Canaanites are living in the valleys. Turn away tomorrow and set out in the desert on the Red Sea road."
The Lord also said to Moses and Aaron,
"How long will this wicked community grumble against me? I have heard the grumblings of the Israelites against me. Tell them, by my life, says the Lord, I will do to you just what I have heard you say. Here in the desert shall your dead bodies fall, of all your men of 20 years or more registered in the census who grumbled against me. Not one shall enter the land where I solemnly swore to settle you, except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. Your little ones, however, who you said would be taken as booty, I will bring in, and they shall appreciate the land you spurned. But as for you, your body shall fall here in the desert. here where your children must wander for 40 years suffering for your faithlessness, till the last of you lies dead in the desert. 40 days you spent scouting the land, 40 years shall you suffer for your crimes, 1 year for each day. Thus you will realize what it means to oppose me. I, the Lord, have sworn to do this to all this wicked community that conspired against me. Here in the desert they shall die to the last man.
And so it happened to the men whom Moses had sent to reconnoiter the land, and who on returning had set the whole community grumbling against him by spreading discouraging reports about the land. These men, who had given out the bad report about the land, were struck down by the Lord and died. Of all the men who had gone to reconnoiter the land, only Joshua son of Nun and Caleb son of Jephunneh survived. When Moses repeated these words to all the Israelites, the people felt great remorse. Early the next morning they started up into the foothills, saying, "Here we are, ready to go up to the place that the Lord spoke of. For we were indeed doing wrong." But Moses said, "Why are you again disobeying the Lord's orders? This cannot succeed. Do not go up, because the Lord is not in your midst. If you go, you will be beaten down before your enemies. For there the Amalekites and Canaanites face you, and you will fall by the sword. You have turned back from following the Lord, therefore the Lord will not be with you." Yet they dared to go up into the foothills, even though neither the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord nor Moses left the camp. And the Amalekites and Canaanites who dwelt in that hill country came down and defeated them, beating them back as far as Hormah. Chapter 15. The Lord said to Moses,
"Give the Israelites these instructions when you have entered the land that I will give you for your homesteads. If you make to the Lord a sweet-smelling oblation from the herd or from the flock, in holocaust in fulfillment of a vow, or as a free will offering, or for one of your festivals, whoever does so shall also present to the Lord a cereal offering consisting of 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with 1/4 of a hin of oil, as well as a libation of 1/4 of a hin of wine, with each lamb sacrificed in holocaust or otherwise. With each sacrifice of a ram you shall present a cereal offering of 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with 1/3 of a hin of oil, and a libation of 1/3 of a hin of wine, thus making a sweet-smelling offering to the Lord. When you sacrifice an ox as a holocaust, or in fulfillment of a vow, or as a peace offering to the Lord, with it you shall present a cereal offering of 3/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with 1/2 a hin of oil, and a libation of 1/2 a hin of wine, as a sweet-smelling oblation to the Lord. The same is to be done for each ox, ram, lamb, or goat. Whatever the number you offer, do the same for each of them. All the native-born shall make these offerings in the same way whenever they present a sweet-smelling oblation to the Lord. Likewise, in any future generation, any alien residing with you permanently or for a time, who presents a sweet-smelling oblation to the Lord, shall do as you do. There is but one rule for you and for the resident alien, a perpetual rule for all your descendants. Before the Lord, you and the alien are alike, with the same law and the same application of it for the alien residing among you as for yourselves. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them, when you enter the land into which I will bring you, and begin to eat of the food of that land, you shall offer the Lord a contribution, consisting of a cake of your first batch of dough. You shall offer it just as you offer a contribution from the threshing floor. Throughout your generations you shall give a great contribution to the Lord from your first batch of dough. When through your inadvertence you fail to carry out any of these commandments which the Lord gives to Moses, and through Moses to you, from the time the Lord first issues the commandment down through your generations, if the community itself unwittingly becomes guilty of the fault of inadvertence, the whole community shall offer the holocaust of one young bull as a sweet-smelling oblation pleasing to the Lord, along with its prescribed cereal offering and libation, as well as one he-goat as a sin offering. Then the priest shall make atonement for the whole Israelite community. Thus they will be forgiven the inadvertence for which they have brought their holocaust as an oblation to the Lord. Not only the whole Israelite community, but also the aliens residing among you shall be forgiven, since the fault of inadvertence affects all the people. However, if it is an individual who sins inadvertently, He shall bring a yearling she-goat as a sin offering, and the priest shall make atonement before the Lord for him who sinned inadvertently. When atonement has been made for him, he will be forgiven. You shall have but one law for him who sins inadvertently, whether he be a native Israelite or an alien residing with you. But anyone who sins defiantly, whether he be a native or an alien, insults the Lord, and shall be cut off from among his people, since he has despised the word of the Lord and has broken his commandment. He must be cut off. He has only himself to blame.
While the Israelites were in the desert, a man was discovered gathering wood on the Sabbath day. Those who caught him at it brought him to Moses and Aaron and the whole assembly, but they kept him in custody, for there was no clear decision as to what should be done with him. Then the Lord said to Moses,
"This man shall be put to death. Let the whole community stone him outside the camp."
So the whole community led him outside the camp and stoned him to death, as the Lord had commanded Moses. The Lord said to Moses,
"Speak to the Israelites and tell them that they and their descendants must put tassels on the corners of their garments, fastening each corner tassel with a violet cord. When you use these tassels, let the sight of them remind you to keep all the commandments of the Lord, without going wantonly astray after the desires of your hearts and eyes. Thus you will remember to keep my commandments and be holy to your God. I, the Lord, am your God, who as God brought you out of Egypt, that I, the Lord, may be your God."